Hello again, everyone. This is JJ, also known as Byron King, here on YouTube. Sorry about the background noise, I got some laundry running. Anyways, today I'm gonna bring you another deck tech like I usually do. I mean, until I get a capture card, I'm gonna just keep doing deck techs. But, yeah, so this is the first modern deck I ever built. This deck is Mono Red Burn. This is its current iteration. I'm not going to change it for a while, maybe until some newer sets drop, but right now it is quite good. It has won me a bunch of F&M games and tournaments. So, yeah, let's get onto the deck. So, since this is mono red, we're just going to be running some basic lands, and those basic lands are going to be 21 mountains. Yep, just 21 simple, easy mountains. You can use full arts or non-full arts, it doesn't matter. And you could run less, possibly more, but I wouldn't say so. 19 to 21 is the ideal in this. And everything in this deck is about 3 converted mana cost or less. The average, I'd say, is about 1.5. So, let's get on to our 1-drops. So, with our 1-drops, we have 4 Goblin Guides. This is a 2/2 for 1 red, and it has haste. So, haste means it can attack as soon as it enters. The thing with Goblin Guide is when he attacks, defending player reveals the top card of his or her library, and if it's a land card, that player puts into his or her hand. The good thing about this guy, though, is that if it is a land card and they put it into their hand, since you draw 7 at the beginning, and since you always want to be on the play in this deck, they're going to have 8. And then they draw again, they're going to play a land, and if they're not running aggro as well, they're going to have 8 in their hand, and you can only have 7 in your hand, unless a certain card says so, like Reliquary Tower, which says you have no max hand size. So, yeah, so they're going to have to discard a card. So he's quite good there. And then our next 1-drop, which actually is fairly recent, it was in Standard about a couple of months ago, it just barely rotated out, is Monastery Swift Spear. So this is a 1/2 for 1, and it has haste as well, so it can attack right away, but it also has prowess, and what that is when you cast a non-creature spell this turn, well, not this turn, but whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And in this deck, basically, all of your stuff, there's like 11 creatures in the deck, and then 21 lands, so that's 32, and a deck has to have a minimum of 60, so there's about 28 spells. So, with this on the field and a lot of your burn spells, you're gonna trigger prowess a lot. So, it's good there. And then our next one, Grim Lavamancer. It's a 1/1 for 1. I mean, basically always passes the vanilla test, some 1/1s for 1. But with him, you can pay a red, tap him, and exile 2 cards from your graveyard. So exiling means, like, if they're in the graveyard, you take them out of your graveyard and out of the game permanently, unless certain cards say, take a card an opponent owns from exile, or take a card you own from exile and put it back into your graveyard or into your library, hand, etc. But when something's in exile, it's basically out of the game. So when you do that, it deals 2 damage to target creature or player, and you're running 2 of these. 2 is the ideal amount. I mean, nothing more, nothing less. Basically what this deck is it used to be burn, but now it's kind of in the category of what's called a mono red deck wins, or red deck wins is what it's basically is. Our next guy is called Vexing Devil. So he's a 4/3 for 1. And you're like, wow, really? That's kind of good. He does have a downside, though. When he enters the battlefield, any opponent may have it deal 4 damage to him or her, and if a player does, you have to sack him. So that is kind of a problem. I mean, there are some people to where it's like, I'll let you put him on the battlefield, and I won't take 4, and then they have a removal spell, and he's gone. But some of the times they will take the 4, and it's the best, not the best burn spell, but maybe the best burn creature spell ever if they decide to take the damage. So, because no card in history that I know of allows somebody to take 4 for 1, unless it's through, like, specific means. Now our next one, Lightning Bolt. If you are running a red deck, any deck that has red, always run Lightning Bolt. I don't care who you are, always run Lightning Bolt. Is that good? So it costs 1, and it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. And it's at instant speed. So say you have one of these in your opening hand, and you have a land, but you don't have any creatures, you can play that land, and then pass to your opponent. At the end of their turn, if they played a creature that you don't like, and it has haste, like say you're playing against another burn deck and they play a Goblin Guide, you can burn their Goblin Guide. And you won't take damage, that Goblin Guide will die. So you're running 4 of these. So there's that. And then our next one is Lava Spike. It's like Lightning Bolt, but except with this one you have to sack a land. So, or not Lava Spike. The Lava Spike's the next card. This is Shard Volley. But anyway, with this you have to sack a land, which kind of sucks, but I mean, it's like Lightning Bolts. So it's good. Anything that's like has a Lightning Bolt effect and costs 1, I'd say run it. It's good. And now our next one is Rift Bolt. Oh my god. Sorry, I am so tongue-tied today. I'm like reading cards in advance. Anyway, this is Lava Spike. So Lava Spike deals 3 damage to target player, sorcery, speed. It's okay. It's okay. Not the greatest, but there's no other cards like Lightning Bolt. If the newer set comes out and they decide to make cards like Lightning Bolt cost 1, definitely run those. The next card is Rift Bolt now. So why I'm kind of showing you Rift Bolt ahead of time is because it costs 3 converted mana cost. So it kind of jumps from like 1, and then I took you guys to 3, but here's the reason why. You can suspend this for 1. So when you suspend something, you put a time counter on it, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you remove that time counter. And when that time counter is removed, you can cast the spell without paying its mana cost. So this is Lightning Bolts, but suspended. So that's kind of good. And the best thing is say you play like 2 of these suspended, and then you play a Monastery Swift Spear. Next turn, say you want to, like, they have no creatures, bolt their face twice. That's going to deal 6 damage, and then your Monastery Swift Spear is going to get +2/+2. So then hit them for another 3. So 9 damage in 1 turn. Now let's go on to our 2-drops. So our first 2-drop is called Satyr Fire Dancer. Whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage to an opponent, so basically whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this deals that much damage to target creature that player controls. So it's going to kind of come up with another card that I'm going to be showing here soon. But basically, like, say you play a Lightning Bolt, you can hit them for 3, and then also hit a creature they control for 3. So he's good. And now on to our next 2-drop, which I said it was kind of like the Satyr Fire Dancer, except this one's different. So Searing Blaze. This deals 1 damage to target player and 1 damage to target creature that player controls. And then if you have Landfall, it deals 3 damage instead. The problem with this, though, is they have to have a creature in order for this spell to resolve. Unlike the Satyr Fire Dancer, you can hit them with that spell, and the spell will still resolve. It's just you can also deal it to a creature. This one, they have to have a creature, and they still have to be in the game. So that's kind of the problem with this one. But it's still quite good. Run it. It's good. And then our last 2-drop is Skullcrack. So players can't gain life this turn. Damage can't be prevented this turn. And this deals 3 damage to target player. So there are some life gain decks in Modern. If you saw my very first Modern deck, that is a life gain deck. But there are some creatures with lifelink that people like equip with artifacts or enchantments that just bump them up to no end. Well, when they swing into you, you can play this against their creature, or not against their creature, because it only hits target player, but you can play this against them, and instead of them gaining life, they're going to lose 3 life. So you're running 4 of those. And then the last card, we have 3 Flame of the Bloodhands. It's the same thing as Skullcrack, except it deals 4 damage this turn. So Yeah. Anyways, that's my modern burden deck, and I also have a sideboard for this deck for certain strategies. So, excuse me there. Let's get to the sideboard. So, we have a Blood Moon. So, Blood Moon is all non-basic lands become mountains. In Modern, a lot of people run non-basics. That's why in this deck you kind of got the upper hand by just running basics and having them be 21 mountains. And other opponents it would screw over because there are a lot of people that use non-basics. There's a strategy called Tron, which uses just non-basic lands. Maybe a couple of basics, but very, very little. So this screws over Tron players and basically almost every other player in Modern. And then we have 2 Molten Rains. So destroy target land. If that land is a non-basic, it deals 2 damage to that land's controller. With Blood Moon, and say you hit somebody with a Molten Rain, it's still going to consider that land a non-basic. It just becomes a mountain, though. So it's going to deal 2 damage to a player if you destroy one of their non-basics and you have a Blood Moon out. So basically, destroy a mountain, they take 2. But it's in very few cases. Then we have 4 Searing Bloods. So Searing Blood deals 2 damage to target creature, and when that creature dies this turn, it deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. Just kind of good creature removal and good burn removal. And essentially, say they have like a 4 toughness guy, if you pay 2, like you deal 2 and then deal another 2 with Searing Blood, the person's going to take 6. And you got rid of their creature. And then our next one, we have 2 Smash to Smithereens. Destroy target artifact. It deals 3 damage to that artifact's controller. There's another set in here called, well, not in here, but in Modern called Affinity, which is now kind of just called Robots, but it runs a lot of artifacts. So basically, destroy their artifacts, their better ones, and they take 3. But it's more for the sideboard. Don't run it main board. And then we have Smelt. Just does the same thing, but instead this time it costs 1. But they don't take any damage, which kind of sucks, but it's something. Then we have Rune Flare Trap. If an opponent drew 3 or more cards this turn, you may pay red rather than play the mana cost. It deals damage to target player equal to number of cards in that player's hand. There's another Modern deck called Grishel Brand, and they draw a lot of cards, so kind of screw them over with this card. And then we have Rending Volley, can't be countered by spells or abilities, deals 4 damage to target white or blue creature. That's why it's sideboarded, just for, some bigger creatures that are white or blue. Then our next one, Ricochet Trap. And if an opponent casts a blue spell this turn, you pay red rather than pay Ricochet Trap's mana cost. Change the target of target spell with a single target. There are counter spells, and counter spells are blue. So basically, say somebody plays a counter spell on like a good spell you have, pay this, and screw them over, and change that target to this one. And what it would basically do is it change the target of that spell to this one, and then this one would happen first, and then their spell would hit this, and it just fizzle. So, there's that, and then we have Scouring Sands. So it costs 2, and it deals 1 damage to each creature your opponent's control, and you scry 1. So scry 1, you look at the top card of your library. If you want it on top, you keep it on top. If not, you put it to the bottom. But this is more for token strategies or heavy creature strategies with like 1 toughness guys. And then our last card, Satyr Fire Dancer. Kind of the same thing with Scouring Sands. It's just for more creature strategies. So, yeah. This was my first Modern deck. And sorry about the change of location. The other place where I sit is kind of filled at the moment. I mean, it's right next to me. It's still in the same room. It's just I decided to partially change location. Anyways, I hope you all enjoy the video. And make your tweaks to it however you want. And have a good day. Bye.